So it was in the first published history of Plymouth. Worth produced this in 1870. The opening few pages were about GOGMAGOG and CORNEUS. And the backstory there had been fake news in the 12th century. Geoffrey of Monmouth, the least reliable of our chroniclers, he called him, produced this story to give us a narrative for how we got the kings and queens of this country. So the story he came up with, and people believed it for hundreds of years, was that Brutus came across from the Mediterranean with an army of Trojans. They landed at Totnes, and the Brutus stone is there to this day, allegedly, and he came further west to Plymouth Hoe, where they encountered an army of Wessex giants, and an almighty battle took place. And the denouement of the battle, the climax, was when GOGMAGOG, the biggest of the giants, took to battle with CORNEUS, who was the leading Trojan warrior, and he GOGMAGOG uprooted a tree as if it was just nothing, and went to hit CORNEUS, but CORNEUS, he was wily, and after being grabbed by GOGMAGOG and had 3 of his ribs crushed, then what happened then is he got a bit cross, and even though he was smaller than the giant, he picked him up and hurled him over the cliff edge at Lame, which means giant's leap, evidently, threw him over there, dashed him onto the rocks, blood everywhere, and battle over. And as a reward, Brutus gave CORNEUS the tip of Wessex, which he renamed Cornwall after CORNEUS. And Brutus himself went on to take the rest of Albion, which he renamed Britain in honour of Brutus. And everybody that lived here became Britons. Fake news, indeed, but people believed it for hundreds of years. And so, in the 15th century, when Plymouth eventually got independence from Plympton up the river, and Sutton Ralph and Sutton Vallathorpe and Sutton Prior were incorporated as one, then Plymouth thought, how can we celebrate this? And they thought, I know, we'll use the story of the giants on the Hoe. I just let the bikes go by. We'll use the story of the giants on the Hoe, and they created figures in the grass here, and we don't know where exactly, but we do know that they were here until the citadel was built, because there's several references to them. And Michael Drayton, in his epic poem Polyalbion, that was published in 1612, he spent the first 20 lines of his epic poem writing about the battle of the giants on Plymouth Hoe. And so from the town records we know that they were cleaned out from time to time, but there is no pictorial reference for them. So a few years ago, Charles Newington, who was responsible for the White Horse at Folkestone, and that took years to get past the local authorities, he decided, or thought, it might be nice for Plymouth to rediscover their lost giants. And so he appealed to various people, Derek Tate, and then Derek passed it on to me. And as a director of the Waterfront Partnership, I picked up the gauntlet, and the Waterfront Partnership, as of last week, have at last created these 2 figures. Charles Newington's created them. Templates were produced up in Kent. There was a trial run there. There was a trial run at Home Park just before the pitch was uplifted a few weeks ago. But last week, the full thing was done with the help of 29 Commando and the Plymouth Barbican Trust and various other sponsors. Plymouth Argyle were massively involved as well. And you get what you see here now, the rebirth of the giants on Plymouth Hoe.
Which figure is which there?
CORNEUS is on your right, and GOGMAGOG is on the left. And as some people will know, the legend has spread far and wide, and the Lord Mayor of the City of London, his parade is led out by 2 wicker figures, giant figures, every year. And Cambridge also claims GOGMAGOG and CORNEUS as part of their backstory, but it's Plymouth's backstory, and it's here, we believe, because 4,000 years ago, the Mediterranean folk were coming over here and taking away tin from Dartmoor and tin from Cornwall, because there would have been no Bronze Age without that tin, and they traded from Mountbatten. And there are archaeological remains, finds there that confirm this. So this represents a 4,000-year-old backstory for Plymouth, and one that we should celebrate big time.
Absolutely. How do you think it was built, for want of a word? originally? Was it hacked into the stone, limestone?
We know that men were paid to cleanse the giant figures on the hoe. We don't know though what the material was, whether they just scraped the grass off the limestone, or whether they had some sort of lime wash, or whether they had chalk. We don't really know what they did, and the town records are not very conclusive in that they don't really give us any more information than how much the men were paid, and it's usually about 1 and 6, or even less, 4 pence.
It's a fantastic thing to do. It's very, very visual.
It is indeed.
It's tremendous.
It looks brilliant from the air, and it
Yes.
looks brilliant from the sea and from Mountbatten.
Chris, thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Steve.
Thank you.